Mr Hunt's remarks have been branded crass, considering the average UK wage is around £35,000. Hunt, who is the MP for something called South West Surrey, made the comments in response to a constituent whose household can't get childcare due to her earning £100,000. He tweeted, "That is an issue." Let's get the words of this right. "That is an issue I would really like to sort out after the next election, as I am aware that it is not a huge salary in our area if you have a mortgage to pay." Labour MP and Shadow Paymaster General Jonathan Ashworth said the comments showed how desperately out of touch the Tories are. But yesterday, Mr Hunt didn't retreat. He doubled down in an interview with Trevor Phillips on Sky News.
It doesn't sound right, does it, to say £100,000 is not a huge salary?
Well, I was talking to a constituent who was pointing out to me that, what sounds like a large salary, when you have house prices averaging around £670,000 in my area, if you've got a mortgage and you've got childcare costs, it doesn't go as far as you might think. And she's right. It doesn't go as far as you might think. And that's why I want to give help to families. That's why the childcare measures are very important.
£100,000 doesn't go as far as you might think, Angela.
Well, OK, so the optics weren't great on this, without question, because when you consider the average wage in this country, understandably, the people that are struggling in terms of just, people are going to food banks, all the things we know. I am not in any measure or level dismissing that. But let's talk specifically about what Hunt said. He was addressing an issue for his constituency, OK? He wasn't talking about areas of North Manchester that I know where there's tremendous deprivation, where £100,000 would last a lifetime. He's talking about his constituency, where there are still people who are dealing with a very volatile housing market, mortgage rates all over the place because of the interest rates. And what he's saying is that in that particular area of the world, the salary doesn't go that far. I think it shows he's in touch rather than out of touch. I am not in any respect commending him for the kind of crassness of having to say it, but I do think there is a point to be made here. And one of the things is, I really beyond loathe, the politics of envy. People that are on £100,000 a year will have not just been gifted it by the state. They're likely to have set up successful businesses that they've grafted at for years. They could be professionals, highly skilled professionals, who have maybe been to medical school or other vocational subjects where they've had to be professionally qualified. And if they've chosen, because of the benefit of that salary, to live in certain areas, and they're saying because of the volatility of the environment, they are struggling. I'm not saying it makes it right.
What about that, Marina? It doesn't go very far.
This is not about the politics of envy, right? If he is saying that on £100,000 you are still struggling to pay for your housing and your childcare, then something has gone very badly wrong in our economy. And what about the 96% of Brits that don't earn that actually earn far less than that? What does it say about Jeremy Hunt, that his baseline for financial comfort is about £100,000, and even that isn't?
Oh, I don't think that's the baseline for him.
Right, it's not baseline, right?
Not for
him. So what does that say about him and his government stance towards nurses who earn 33 grand,
Elizabeth, if we look at the
teachers who earn
housing,
36?
He makes the point in there, and he got some very, very posh places in his constituency, like Godalming and Hazelmere. He says the properties cost $650.
No, OK, and the average salary in Godalming is 40k. So he's still over-egging it massively. But do you know, what would Lee Anderson say there? What Lee Anderson would say, well, you need to budget better. You need to make your meals for 30p. I just think he makes it very clear that he's got a complete disregard for other people.
Angela probably agrees that the optics are bad, but can you be struggling on 100 grand?
Well, it's
a different struggle, Jeremy.
It's all about how you use your money and where you live. If you've chosen to live in a certain area, perhaps you want to live there because you have family connections, or that there's a long-standing history, or when you bought your house, the mortgage was manageable, and then obviously things went pear-shaped with the economy. Trust, the lettuce came in, and then that was that.
I'm sorry.
We're not thinking.
What about all the people that aren't on that amount, Angela, who have the same ties to London, which is also astronomically expensive, and they are working very hard. It's not that they're sitting on their bottoms, doing jobs that are the fabric of our society, and they cannot feed their kids.
Which is why I prefaced my comments very clearly at the very beginning by saying the optics are poor, people are struggling. There is absolutely no question of the fact that the cost of living crisis is biting hard. What I'm saying is we're talking specifically about Jeremy Hunt, who is addressing his constituents.
Let's bring in Sarah. I've got a number of Sarahs waiting. Sarah in Hertfordshire. You start, Sarah. I gather you've got household income around this level, have you?
Hi, yes, my partner does. And I don't agree with the way Hunt was put his statement across. But I do think that nowadays it isn't as big a salary as what we would have thought about 100,000 maybe 10 whatever years ago. Obviously, rise in living costs. Our mortgage has recently doubled, and we're struggling like a lot of people. And with the recent
can I ask you about the
changes-
mortgage? Because he used the housing as an example. If someone on 100,000, I suppose they might have borrowed 500,000, possibly as much as that. What are the repayments like on that?
So it's gone from the sort of just over 1,000 mark to 2,000 mark. And I'm also back at work, and we're having to pay childcare. And obviously, we get no help from the government in form of childcare. So it is a struggle, and you do feel that you're penalised for doing better. And I do agree, we're lucky to have this income, but I just feel as soon as you sort of hit that barrier, it's like, right, nothing for you, no help for you. There's been recent changes to the childcare system that are coming in. We've been thinking about having another child, and we just can't afford to do it unless we sacrifice our sort of lifestyle and saying maybe moving house or. And I know.
Sarah, stay there. Hang on. Let's bring in the other Sarah who's waiting. Just you wait there, Sarah in Hertfordshire. Sarah in Staffordshire. Does this make sense to you? That it's just basically everything's more expensive where the first Sarah is.
Yeah, it is really. I understand that the demographics of the country, different wages, different costs, and all of that sort of thing, but. For people that are scrolling through social media that see these comments about £100,000 not being a big salary, it just makes you feel even crosser than you did before, because £100,000 to a family in the Midlands or in the north of the country is something that, it's like it's your wildest dreams. And I just think that for me personally, it just makes me feel that when I watch PMQs, for example, on a Wednesday, and you see people sitting there looking all smart, and you hear different stories about how much money's been spent on helicopter rides and private jets and things like that. It makes me think, how are we ever going to have a country that is equal? It's like, it feels like...
Let's ask Sarah in Hertfordshire, what do you think about that? Because of this, we'll never have an equal country, Sarah.
Yeah, I completely understand where Sarah's coming from, and I think it is down to demographics. If you look at the price of properties and sort of what your mortgage would be, it's all relative, isn't it? I mean, I do completely understand where she's coming from, and I have friends that are on a lot less salary than us that are struggling equally, and it is about lifestyle.
Thank you, Sarah. Marina, I was just looking at so Sarah in Hertfordshire, her mortgage is £2,000 a month, so £24,000 a year. So her partner on 100,000, 40,000 of that is mortgage. Pre-tax. So, maybe she's up against it.
I've got no doubt that there is a struggle among the middle classes, but the struggle, I think, is different. So if you're earning 100 grand, what you have to then cut back on is different to the cutbacks that are being made on people who are on minimum wage, which is 23,000, which is
you're cutting back on your streaming services.
You cut back on your streaming. You maybe don't go out for dinner as much, whatever. But for these people who Hunt is not talking about, he's not campaigning for, he's not going to sort out, if he stays in power, are the people where cutbacks mean we go without food.
OK, more calls coming on this. Was the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, right to say £100,000 in some parts of the country is not enough? Now, your calls on whether Jeremy Hunt is right to say £100,000 a year is not a huge salary. 0207 862 2222 is the number. Kathy in Lancashire, what do you think of this?
He's delusional, absolutely delusional. I'm living on PIP. I challenge him to come and live with me without any of his savings, any of his cronies beside him. And I've challenged people before, but of course they never take it up.
So are you a pensioner, Kathy?
Well, I'm in denial, Jeremy. Yes, I am.
What? You're in denial?
Yeah, I'm also disabled. I was medically retired at 38.
Oh.
30.
Go on.
I've had a lot of brain injury, and it's life-threatening. It's not a condition that goes away. Mine's with me for life. I can go in hospital at the click of my fingers, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, come and live with me, Jeremy.
That's a nice offer. How much do you think you have spare cash per week to spend on food?
I don't.
Well, that's what Marina was saying. This is, the £100,000 comment is all very well on paper, but actually it doesn't take account of your life, Kathy. That's the key thing. Thank you so much. Liesl in Cumbria. Liesl, I'm sorry. Hello, Liesl.
Hiya.
Hey, everyone's in a great mood today. This is good.
Yeah, well, it's raining, so we should be in a good mood.
Are you on 100,000?
And he's on 100,000. And we recently moved up from from Hampshire to Cumbria to cut our mortgage rate.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't have been able to afford it anymore. What people don't realise, people on 100,000, they get taxed 40% on their wages. So already that is a big chunk away from the wages.
Uh-huh.
I'm a stay-at-home mum, and I'm not allowed any child benefit because of his tax bracket that he falls under.
Yeah, so you're exactly the person he's talking about, yeah.
So it's those things. We don't live a lavish lifestyle. We don't. I mean, we're on Freeview TV. We're not massive spenders. We do have to look after our money. And I don't think Jeremy Hunt is dismissing people on a lower income. He's just actually speaking for a change. Somebody is willing to say, but actually it sounds on paper like you're doing great. Yeah. But if you look at all the other bits, it's not that fantastic.
Okay.
My husband's away every week.
Right. I'm only pausing because I'm just bewitched by your accent, and I've got to hang on. Yeah. Don't tell me. We've got to work out this accent.
I'm Austrian.
I'm going Zimbabwe. Marina.
South Africa.
Where from, Liesl?
No, I'm from South Africa originally, but I've been in the UK for 12 years now.
Marina's right.
I was thinking Sound of Music. Liesl was one of the children, wasn't she? In the Sound of Music.
It's my favourite movie.
Oh, do you know what? Released in 1965, the year I was born. Thank you, Liesl, so much. On 100,000 in Cumbria, and it's on our uppers. Not on our uppers, but yes, okay.
I just want to make a point. Right?
Hard time.
The thing is really sticks out here is that Jeremy Hunt is willing to go out on a limb for the people who earn 100k, but he's not willing to go out on a limb for the people who don't, who earn far lower than that, like the people I've mentioned, the nurses, the doctors, whatever, right? And my point is, it's like he's saying, well, those people sort of are deserving of their struggle.
But he may have said other things at other times.
But yeah, exactly. He's talking about his constituents, and I think Liesl makes a very good point. I wrote a piece for the Mail the other day about what you can buy for £500,000, and I know this is more than about property. You could get a studio flat in East London, or you could get an eight-bedroom house in certain parts of Birmingham. So obviously the market drives what you can get for your family. Cumbria is a beautiful part of the world, and I'm sure Liesl lives in a much nicer house than she could in Hampstead if she wanted to cash in the equity in the house. And I think that the issue here is we're not suggesting that there isn't, that these aren't good causes. It's about his constituents.
We've got one more call from round your way, Angela.
Yay.
Anne in Greater Manchester, hi. What do you think this £100,000 comment?
Oh, hi, Jeremy. Hi, panel.
Hello.
I just felt compelled to ring up. I work as a nurse. I'm a single parent. I used to get working tax credits and tax credits. I had to recently change to the universal credit system. I didn't get a great big amount, but it allowed me to work part-time so that I could look after my children, look after my dad. This month I got, I think, since changing to universal credits, and I got £12 a month. And so
pause because we've got to take our break now, and I want to get to the end of your figures after the break. So let's just quickly return to Anne because you're on the phone. Hey, Anne.
Hello.
So you were going through some of your outgoings and your incomings.
Yeah. The reason I started with that was because it's more the reason I chose to be a nurse, which I know isn't the most financially rewarding career, But I'm more online with the average salary in the country,
Sure.
and therefore just to hear a comment that somebody, it's not envy politics or anything like that, but I make choices as to what I can afford for my children, my family.
Yeah.
And I just think, if you're on a 100 grand salary, you make, like Marina was saying, I agree with Marina on the panel, that the choices that you're making are not about, do I send them to private school? Do I have to not have a holiday? It's different choices that you're making.
About food and all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Anne, very much. Lovely to talk to you. Natalie in Kent, one more on this. Is he out of order saying £100,000 isn't much in the circumstances some of his constituents are in?
No, not at all. He's speaking facts at the end of the day. What has been said has been taken out of context. He lives in one of the most expensive areas in the country, and 100,000 isn't going to get you very far when the average property in Surrey is around 580,000. So, yeah, I think he was spot on.
Yeah, because, Angela's talking about these £1 million houses she reported on. I suppose there's a few of them down there, are there?
Yes, absolutely. Same in Kent. We're next door in Kent, so we've got the same.
Yeah, it's the whole property thing has killed us in a way, hasn't it?
Again, why have we
Yeah,
got
you can buy a house
right.
up in Durham for 90,000.
Yeah, but your
Yeah.
earning,
No, County
potential
Yeah.
will most likely be less.
Not
as well.
necessarily if you work remotely. I mean, that's skewered the whole argument, because you get people that can be on London salaries that then work remotely in Northumberland. But the truth is that we are shortchanging a whole generation of property owners, because young people just can't get on the ladder.
Maybe the key to this thing is understanding that it's a property conversation, which is always weird.
And
But
childcare. And childcare.
Yes.
Some of the highest childcare costs in the world.
Are in this country.
Yep.